What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10, and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we begin our talks on the Clockwork Soul Sorcerer, that which seeks to quell the chaos in the world and bring about order where possible. And is it any good? We will just have to find that out today, but before we do, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure to share the video with your friends, and of course click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded. So the Clockwork Soul Sorcerer is very interesting. This sorcerer seeks to find the chaos in the world and correct it, and make things a little bit more orderly. Of course, we've talked about order type of things. Of course, we talked about the Order Domain Cleric a long time ago. I'll put that up in the icon above to talk about. And yeah, so that's something similar to this, but this is definitely an interesting play on that concept. This is also coming from Tasha's, which of course we talked about the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer last week. I'll put up in the icon above, which is also from this same book and got a 10 out of 10. So is this one also going to get that, or did it get snubbed and the other one is far superior? We'll just have to find out. Starting off, we have Clockwork Magic, and similar to last week's, we also have an expanded spell list. Now these are spells that we get access to and already have known, which is really cool. Now you will notice that the list here is maybe a little bit less impressive than that of the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. However, there's a big difference though, is that we can now choose from the Abjuration and Transmutation spell list when it comes to swapping one of these out. Yes, similar to that subclass, we can actually swap out one of these spells for a different one that is a Sorcerer, Warlock, or Wizard spell, basically anytime we take a new level, which is really, really good. As long as it's matched up in level, we're fine, which really opens up our options. The Abjuration spell list especially has some huge helps there. You know, we're gonna drop Alarm and probably grab Absorb Elements or Shield, something like that, so that we can save our normal prepared slots in order to grab something else that's useful. So there's a lot of really good stuff that we can swap out here. So that's something we have to consider with this ranking, is that yeah, this list is okay, right? We've got Aid, which is good. We've got Greater Restoration. We've got Wall of Force. Those are all really, really good. Most of the others are okay. You know, Dispel Magic is pretty good, but I'd rather take something like Counterspell, which we can take through this list, which is really, really good. And so with that in mind, I gotta say that this makes this a 10 out of 10. This is an amazing addition. We get already some insanely good spells, but the ability to swap those out for better options is really where this shines, and it's huge. Also at level 1, we get Restore Balance, and this is kind of a wild feature. So basically, whenever a creature is rolling a d20 with advantage or disadvantage within 60 feet of us, we can use our reaction to cancel that advantage or disadvantage. And we can do this a number of times per day equal to our proficiency bonus. This is kind of wild, right? To me, this reminds me somewhat of the Divination Wizard, which we have not covered on the channel just yet, but it somewhat reminds me of Portent, except that this is a little bit more applicable, I would say. So basically, yeah, we can say, okay, the big bad evil guy has knocked down our fighter and is about to attack with advantage because our fighter is prone, and nope, not anymore. You get rid of it. Or our fighter is prone and attacking with disadvantage, and you say, nope, it's just normal. So that's kind of huge, right? That's kind of a big deal. And I think that this really will make a lot bigger of a difference than it sounds on paper. I mean, it already sounds okay, but I think this is gonna come up a lot more than it really lets on. To me, this is a 9 out of 10. This is going to come up a decent amount. I don't know if you're gonna run out of them really once you get past a certain point and have a high enough proficiency bonus, which is another thing. If you were to multi-class out and do something else, this is going to continue to scale, which is good. Of course, they've kind of pulled back on that notion as time has gone on, but still, this is a really good feature and it definitely will come up. At level 6, we get Bastion of Law, and this is also a pretty interesting feature. It's more of a defensive feature, but that makes sense for what we're doing here. So with this, we can spend between 1 and 5 sorcery points to create a bit of a shield around us and people that are nearby, specifically within 30 feet of us. It gives us a number of d8s equal to the number of sorcery points that we spent, and whenever a creature takes damage that is within that radius, we can reduce the damage taken by whatever it is that we roll until we expend all of those dice. This is pretty cool. Right now, this is a once per long rest feature, which is a little unfortunate, but still being able to have this pool of HP that we can reduce is pretty wild. Would I rather prevent the damage altogether? Yes, and you might be able to do that by, of course, getting rid of advantage that may have been there before. But if the attack still does hit, this is your insurance and helps to keep you and your allies up. I think this is pretty great. The cost really isn't that bad to me. I'm personally okay with the cost. I think it's good. Is it perfect? No. So for that reason, it's going to get an 8 out of 10. I think it's good. I think it's really good. I don't think that it's bad. But I definitely think that there could be some dialing up, but that may be too much. At level 14, we get Trance of Order, and this basically allows us to, well, we're not quite going Super Saiyan, but we're going Super Clockwork, something like that. I don't know, but either way, we get to enter this trance-like state for a minute. We just activate this as a bonus action, which is awesome, and it basically gives us 2 different effects at a time. Number 1, whenever attack rolls are coming into us, they cannot have advantage. Doesn't matter, no advantage against us, which is great. And also, whenever we roll a d20 on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, we can treat a 9 or lower as a 10. We can do this once per long rest, or then spend 5 sorcery points in order to do it again. This feature is really, really good. Being able to have both the canceling out advantage onto ourselves and what is essentially reliable talent from the rogue kit, which I'll throw up in the icon above, they're both really good. Those are both really, really good. And honestly, I would spend 5 sorcery points to use this again. You know, we've talked about, spending lots of sorcery points. I mean, heck, the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer had a feature that cost 5 sorcery points, and I didn't feel like that was worth it. This I do feel is worth it, and we get this at level 14, which is pretty wild. That makes this a 10 out of 10 feature. Being able to have this more defensive feature is awesome, plus then being able to dish it back out. This means that we are basically going to never fail concentration checks because we're already proficient in Constitution saving throws as long as we started in Sorcerer. Plus we are going to be able to not roll below a 9, so yeah, that's really, really nice. Finally, at 18th level, we get Clockwork Cavalcade, and we get to essentially summon a little army to help us out and do some really cool stuff. So with this, we can summon a bunch of little Modrons, which are little spirits, little constructs, little robots, really just, make them whatever you want to look like. But still, the spirits are basically not actually there for mechanical purposes, but they have some really cool effects. So they take up a 30-foot cube around you, and anything that is within that cube can take on the following effects. Number 1, the spirits can restore up to 100 hit points divided however we want amongst creatures of our choice. Any damaged objects in the cube are going to be repaired entirely. Every spell of 6th level or lower is going to end on both creatures and objects that are within this cube. We of course get this once per long rest, or we can spend 7 sorcery points to do it again. Now, number 1, is this going to be worth 7 sorcery points? It depends on the 6th level spell. To be honest, I think that's really the main draw here, because I don't know that I would spend 7 sorcery points. Now, in fairness, this is similar to the heal spell. That's kind of what I'm thinking of here is the heal spell. And so in that way, maybe it's definitely pretty cheap for spending something on the heal spell. It is expensive, but still, I don't know. If there is something that needs to be repaired, okay, maybe. That's probably not the one that I'm going to worry about the most. To me, I'm going to worry about the HP, and then even more so, I'm going to worry about ending certain spell effects, because that can be pretty gnarly, especially once we're getting to 5th and 6th level spells. Definitely some really rough ones up there. This is a really good feature. Is it perfect? No, I wouldn't say that it is. So to me, this is an 8 out of 10 feature. I think it's really strong. I think it has a lot of use. For an 18th level feature, I think it's worth having. I definitely do not think that it's useless by any means. There are plenty of sorcerer things that come at 18th level that are no good. This isn't one of them. I definitely would use this once per day, every day, and then sometimes I would spend 7 sorcery points, because maybe it's worth it. It just depends. So where are we at on the Clockwork Soul Sorcerer? This thing's really cool. This thing is really strong. It's really fun. There's a lot going on here, right? Number one, the standout thing, of course, is our expanded spell list. That is something that cannot be understated, right? We gave basically a 10 out of 10 on the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer just because of that spell list last week, and this week is kind of similar. Now, the spells that are on the list right now are not nearly as good as what the Aberrant Mind has on its main list. However, when you look at what other spells could be chosen possibly, that's where you really find the effectiveness and the power in it. And to me, that pushes this pretty far. Beyond that, we have Restore Balance, which is a huge deal and definitely will save your friends' lives or will take out the enemy if your friend is put in a really awkward situation, is knocked prone, is whatever. Can definitely help out there. Bastion of Law is not bad either, and Trance of Order is really good. So, I mean, how does this compare to the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, right? Is this as good as the Aberrant Mind? I would say the answer is yes. I think that this is at least as good because we get the expanded spell list as well. We get all these features that are really, really nice. And so now the question is it better? And I would say that it is. I think that this is actually going to be better than the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, which was a 10 out of 10, which makes this also a 10 out of 10. This is an insanely powerful way to play a sorcerer. You have so many options at your disposal. You can cancel out a lot of the randomness that can come with D&D, and that really can make this game a lot more consistent for you, which definitely will turn the tide in your favor. So what do you think of my ranking? Is this too high, or am I right on the money? Let's find out in the comments section down below. Later this week, we're going to be building one of these together, and I'm looking forward to that. And then next week, we're continuing on with Draconic Bloodline. Until then, stay safe out there, stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.